Hello, welcome to Benjamin Tree. Today we're going to be talking about time serial numbers. Last time we talked about date serial numbers, which is a number that represents certain dates in Microsoft Excel. And these numbers are then can be displayed in a different format that is much easier for people to read. Instead of reading a long 12-digit number, people can just look at the dates like December 4th, 1942. So today we're going to be looking at the time serial numbers. Now there's a similar concept to the date serial numbers, but what happens is the date serial numbers were a whole number that we could look at, while the date serial numbers are actually going to be valued between 0 and 1. So let's take a quick look at some time serial numbers. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to type in 0.5. Okay, that's going to be our first serial number. And this value is between 0 and 1. If you make an educated guess, you might know what this serial number is going to look like. So I'm going to go up here to the number format, and I'm going to change it to time. And this is coming out as 12 p.m., which is noon. So 0.5 is halfway through the day. So if you want 6 a.m., you probably can guess what that's going to be. So we're going to change this to 0.25, and we get 6 a.m. If you want 6 p.m., then it's going to be 0.75, because 6 p.m. is 3/4 of the day. So what we're going to do is kind of learn how can we develop our own serial numbers. You really don't have to do this, because you can just type in time, and Microsoft Excel will often automatically format it as a time. But it's kind of good to know, how does this work? So what we're going to do is we need to come up with the serial number for the hours, the minutes, and seconds. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to make the serial number for just 1 hour. So that's going to equal to 1, which is the total day, and we're going to divide it by 24, because there are 24 hours in a day. So we do that, we get a serial number which is equal to 1 over 24. So if we wanted to choose a time, so let's say 6 hours into the day, we can choose that. We're going to put it here, 6 hours. And what we're going to do here is we're going to change this. We're going to have 1/24 times our input hours times 6. And that's going to give us a serial number of 0.25. So if we take, let's just say we're going to add all these serial numbers up together in a minute, but let's just make that right now. So we're going to say the sum of C2 to C4. These are going to be we're going to add all of these serial numbers together. That's going to be our current serial number that we have. And we're going to set this cell from earlier that's set as a time format equal to this serial number. So right now you can see we have 6 a.m. Now let's add 48 minutes to this serial number. So what we're going to do is let's make the serial number for 1 minute. So it's going to be very similar to what we did before. So it's going to equal to 1 day divided by 24 hours divided by 60 minutes. So right now, this is our serial number for 1 minute. But as you can see here in our time display, we have 6:01, because we only have 1 minute right now. So we're going to put 48 minutes here, and we're going to change this equation to be multiplied by the number of minutes we input. So now our serial number changes, and our new time is 6:48 a.m. Now we're going to add seconds. So we need to decide what is the serial number for 1 second. Again, it's going to be equal to 1 day divided by 24 hours divided by 60 minutes divided by 60 seconds. Now we get a very, very small number here. Now we have to go into the exponentials with a negative exponential here to get 1 second. But we want to add 32 seconds. So we'll make that here our input of 32 seconds. And we'll take this equation and we'll multiply it by our input of 32 seconds. And we get a different serial number. So now our time says 6:48 6 hours, 48 minutes, and 32 seconds, and this is the AM. Now, if we want to get to the PM, because this is based off a 24-hour cycle, we just need to add 12 to our input. So if we add 12 to our input of 6 and we change it to 18, now we get 6 PM. Okay, so you can use a 24-hour schedule or the military time. So if you want to make it 10 o'clock at night, then we need to change this to 22. So now you can see how Microsoft Excel is making the numbers for time. So it's actually storing serial numbers. So maybe you want to decide how many hours or seconds are between two periods, and we can understand how Microsoft Excel is doing this because it is actually recording these numbers as serial numbers, but displaying it to humans in a format that's much easier for us to read. So for today's practice, we got 3 little things here. So at the top of each box here, there is a time that I inputted. Okay, so what you want to do is, using kind of the same format that we did, is put the correct hours and minutes based on this time here into these 2 inputs. And then using the formulas that we had, try to discover the formulas for the hours and for the minutes. And then once you have these 2 serial numbers, add them together to get the total serial number. And then last of all, in this time slot, set this time slot equal to the total serial number. But then you need to come up here and change it to more of a time format. You can choose which time format that you want. When you finish, you can come on over here to the answer key and check to see if your answer is correct. Or if you're having some trouble, look at the answer key or go back to today's lessons for some help. So I hope you learned a lot today. If you have any questions, please leave a comment on the YouTube channel here, or else you can go to the blog and leave a comment on the blog. Thank you and have a wonderful day.